Okay. All right, good afternoon, everyone. Can you hear me clearly?
Yes.
All right, how about the slides? Can you see the slides?
Yes.
Okay, wonderful.
Yes,
All right.
can.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so for today's session, this is a third session for ACiD trip. It will be about lesson plan and assessment. By the way, I'm Dr. Tang from Teaching and Learning Center. I've been teaching for 14 years. So besides teaching and learning, I also lecturer teaching chemistry subjects. Okay, so today's this ACiD trip is about lesson plan and assessment. So I believe you all already started your class, right? Already started your class, and this lesson plan should have done earlier already. Okay, so later on, we're going to go through and see if there's any questions, feel free to ask, okay, about the lesson plan. And after that, the second part is the assessment. Okay, so I believe you all now should be in the stage of planning the assessment, okay, like the midterm tests or the quizzes and also the final paper. All right, so the objectives for today's session. Okay, first is to identify the important components in lesson planning and assessment. Identify the documents required in lesson planning and assessment. Use suitable verbs in learning outcomes. Create lesson based on the learning outcomes. Create quality assessment and marking rubrics. Relates the data in OBE form and GIR. And lastly, identify academic misconduct. Okay, so the first part is the lesson plan. Okay, so I believe you all have heard this before. If you fail to plan, you are planning to fail. Okay, so for us, okay, the planning is very important. So before I continue, I'd like to share with you one video.
You use this X right here to get the, oh my gosh, I just drew an X, hold on. You know what, I'm gonna search for a solution. Let's see, video, math. Maybe this guy can help me. There we go, hey you, hey, do you think you could help me? I accidentally drew on the screen right here. I don't know what to do. No, a little bit farther down, right there. Yeah, there you go. Oh, that's not working. That's making it worse. I'm not sure what to do here. What's that? Oh, okay, yeah, all right. That's just getting the cat dirty. That's not working. All right, okay, yeah, let's try that, Oh. It's okay, don't worry about it. I don't know what to do. Yeah, you have an idea? Oh, okay. Yeah, all right. Okay, let me try that. Okay, go grab that for me. All right. Move out of the way. Let's see if I can do this. There we go. Okay, actually, let me move this out of the way so you can see it there. Move that there. There we go. I think that worked. All right. Thanks for helping me. Oh, yeah. Okay. Sorry. Yeah. Okay. Sorry. Oh, wait a second. I think the lightsaber was too hot. Uh-oh. 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 Ah, it's catching on fire. Oh, no. There we go. Finally got rid of it. All right. Thank you very much.
So how's the video? Yeah, I think yeah, mute can't hear. Yeah, so yeah, so how the video looks.
Week one completed.
Yeah, so that video, as you can see, like very entertaining, but you can figure out, you know, like how much time they use to plan out the whole thing, even though it's like looks very simple, but I believe it's not simple at all. Okay, in the planning part, everything, the choreography, everything so nicely done, especially when the lightsaber came out and things like that. Okay, so that video basically just want to show you like the examples of planning, because I believe in some of our subjects, we have to do something like this to attract the students. Okay, not every time, just one time is sufficient already. Okay. All right, so let's go back to the lesson. Not really lesson, it's more like a sharing session. Okay, so before the start of a semester, okay, you should plan your course. Okay, so the one piece of important documents that you need to prepare is the course outline. Okay, so I believe at this point you already have your course outline prepared. Okay, make sure you already have. If not, please prepare it now. Okay, so this course outline shows the overall view of the course for the whole semester. Okay. And it is also a document for you to plan any replacement classes, okay, activities, and also assessments. Okay, when to put the assessments, what kind of assessments, and things like that. And make sure you upload the approved course outlines in the Open Learning for the students to access. Okay, so normally the first day of class, we have to show them this course outline to tell them these are the number of topics inside there, when is the assessments, and so on. Okay, and what is the reference books and things like that. Okay, so to fill in the blanks in the course outline, okay, the very important things, the documents we have to refer to is the COPA table 4. Okay, so typically this is how the course outline looks like. All right, so you have the parts on the left. Okay, so that is the weeks, okay, number of weeks. So this part here, how many weeks in that semester, you can refer to the academic calendar. Then after that, you have the topic and also the CLO mapping. So that you refer to your COPA table 4. Okay, you should have all the necessary topics, okay, with the subtopics, okay, and also the CLO. Then you have the class schedule. This one is based on the timetable. Okay, you have the dates and the time. Okay. The day like Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, the day is optional, but for me personally, it's good if you add it in, okay, so that you can easily read. And then you have the activities, okay, activities. Typically, generally, it will be lecture and tutorial, okay? But for some other courses, you might have tutorial, field trip, or something like that. So you can put it under these planned activities here, okay? And then we have the remarks column. So the remarks column, we put in these few things here, like if you have public holidays, okay, then you can put it in here, okay, or event dates, okay, we can put it in here, okay. Besides that, we can put in other things inside the remarks column as well, okay, like shown here. Okay, so in the remarks column, if we can put in the assessment, let's say you have midterm exam, okay, where you need them to sit in a class to perform the exam. So you can plan the timing with them when you want to, which day you want to have it. Then you can manually write in the exact date and time, okay, when you have that midterm exam. Or other assessment like practical, for example, let's say you haven't planned out the dates, okay, you want to discuss with them first in the class, then you can plan out the dates later as well. So you can write on this remarks column. So the remarks column, we also use it for, let's say you need replacement classes or additional classes, then you can handwrite all those things over here, okay, during the semester itself. But one thing you have to take notes over here is if you are planning for replacement and additional classes, make sure you fill in the replacement class form, get it approved by your HOS and ADH, okay, before you conduct the replacement or additional class. Okay, reason because all these documents, okay, will be audits later. So make sure you have the replacement class form signed, approved, and then in your attendance sheets, you have all those dates plotted in as well. Okay, so up until here, any questions? Okay, I still can follow, yeah? Anything that looks different from yours? Okay, good. Yeah, one thing I just now didn't mention is this part over here, the lecture and tutorial. Okay, you can see over here, I have the 1 hour, 1 hour. This is just advisable to include the hours. If you don't put in, it's fine. So these hours here basically is from the COPA document itself. Okay, so over here, if you put it in a bracket like this, at least when you are doing the planning, you can count the hours to make sure that the hours in your course outline tally, okay, with the time, the hours provided in the COPA table form. Okay, so that when you're looking at if there's any cancellation of class, then you know how many hours you need to replace. Okay, moving on. So now you have done your course outline. Next thing is to plan the lesson. Okay, what activities to give to the subjects and things like that. So before that, always ask yourself, okay, in your subject, okay, in that particular chapter, okay, what are the subchapters to be included? Okay, and then for those subchapters, what is the purpose, okay, of teaching those subchapters? What the students get out of those activities or the syllabus. Okay, so for that, okay, as a guide, okay, it's recommended for you to create your own lesson learning outcome, LLO. So this LLO lists out measurable skills, knowledge, or values a student can demonstrate at the end of a lesson. Okay, so this is different from the CLO. Okay, CLO is for the entire course. Okay, course learning outcome, CLO. This LLO is for the lesson. Okay, individual individual topics and the subtopics. Okay, what you want the students to learn. So this LLOs also to inform the students, okay, the knowledge and skills, okay, they're expected to achieve at the end of the lesson. Okay. It will be great, okay, if you can incorporate this LLO, okay, in each topics of your lesson. So this LLO, the lesson learning outcomes, serve as a guide for the teachers, for us, okay, to know how much to cover, the depth and the breadth of the topic, okay, and also to plan the classroom activities. Okay, it is not always just board and chalk. Okay, when we know the learning outcome in advance, okay, we can plan one or two interesting activities. And these LOs also will help us in planning the assessment, okay, for the type of assessment, the level assessment as well. So when we plan these learning outcomes, make sure it follows the SMART, which is specific, measurable, achievable at a given time, and relevant. Okay, you don't expect an engineering students to build a rocket within 12 weeks. Okay, that will be not realistic. I believe you all heard about the terms Bloom's taxonomy. Okay, so Bloom's taxonomy shows the level of understanding. Okay, and those action verbs. Okay, very useful for us to determine. Okay, the levels of the understanding the students need for those particular topics. Most of the time, we use Bloom's cognitive domain taxonomy. Okay, but for those doing like those more hands-on, then you might want to use the psychomotor, okay, and affective, okay, for those that involve a lot of affective, okay, the feeling, things like that. Okay, examples of Bloom's, this one we all very familiar with. Okay, we have the verbs, okay, for the lowest level, okay, to remember. Okay, so we can use those terms like define, list, okay, then understanding, okay, this one like describe, explain, okay, apply, analyze, evaluate, all the way until create. Okay, so I believe in the previous lesson from Mr. Gabriel, okay, he has explained about this, so I won't continue on this. Okay, just to straight away jump in, okay, on how we use these verbs, the action verbs, to plan our LOs. But before that, okay, let's look at several examples here, two examples here. Okay, understand the function of a heart. So do you think this is a good LO? If yes, why? If not, why? You can yeah, unmute to talk, or you can just write in the message. Understand the function of a heart.
Describe is the best. Explain the function of your heart. Describe the function of your heart.
Explain, describe. Why cannot say understand?
Understand is instructs, but it describes already understand, then people starts to write after math.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, you got that part right. So when we say understand something, okay, what is the meaning of understand? If you look at Bloom's taxonomy, okay, that's the level of understanding. So you have like, do you just need to describe something by memorizing, or you need to explain using your own words? So when you say understand, it's too vague. Okay, so you cannot measure understanding. All right. So like what Nurul mentioned earlier, okay, you can use the action verb, an appropriate one. Okay, so if you
Explain
want,
function.
yeah. So if we want them to explain, so explain the function of the heart. Okay, so if we need them to know the components of the heart, so we can say describe the component of the heart. So very specific, okay, what we want them to achieve. Okay, because later on, all these verbs like explain, describe, identify, okay, we will use back the same verbs when we want to create the questions. Okay, so the students, they should be familiarized with all these terms and the expectation, okay, out of them, what they need to know. Good. Okay. The second one, identify and explain the components in the motherboard of a computer. So is this okay?
This shortened question, because two different tasks is given here. Identify the components first, then you explain the few parts of the motherboard. It's the best.
Okay, thank you very much. Yes, you are right. Okay, so at one glance, identify and explain the components. Okay, sounds okay. You have identified and explained. Okay, but when we plan it out as a learning outcome, it should be one stage by one stage. Okay, so you put it like this. Okay, you identify first. Identify the components, and then you explain the function of each component. Okay, so it's more details in the LO. So this will be very helpful. First, for the students when they do their revision, and second, when you are preparing for the questions. Okay, this is just examples. Okay, example, learning lesson learning outcome. Okay, so if you have been teaching for many years, okay, maybe you know already. Okay, exactly what you need to teach, how to teach, and so on. Okay, but if this is the first time you are teaching, so everything will be very new, everything will be first time. So it'll be good if you have a plan. Okay, so the LLO is like a plan for you to execute later in the class. Okay, so for example, like take this. The course is chemistry, the level is foundation. Let's say you are looking at the main topic, which is chemical bonding. Then one of the subtopic is covalent bond. Okay, so you ask yourself, okay, so what is the content? So you refer to reference books and things like that, and then you identify, oh, these are the contents that I want my students to learn. Okay, so you have the definition, the name and the formula, the diagrams, the shapes, the polarity, the intermolecular forces, all these things. Okay, then from these contents, you plan out the learning outcomes. Okay, so in levels, like what the student should know, okay, and then like this one, define covalent bonding, name the covalent compounds, okay, write the formula, until the very end, explain the type of intermolecular forces present in molecular compounds. Okay, so all these LLO, they are interrelated from to each other. Okay, if they fail the one on top here, they will have issues in the later LOs. Okay. All right. So before I continue, anything you would like to ask about the LO? So far, okay? So the
Okay,
LOs over, yeah, the LOs over here is not the what do you call that? It's not a serum documents or something like that. Okay, it's not a serum documents that will be audited. Okay, no, it is more like a planning for you. Okay, so like if this is the first time you are teaching that course or this is your first time doing the teaching, so you need, if you have these LOs here, then when you're doing the planning, the lessons, everything, it'll be very useful. Okay, and also it serves as a guide for the students as well. Okay, so that they know, okay, what they should know in that particular topics. Yeah, and then later on we'll see how these LOs actually can help you to develop your activities as well. Okay, so we have done the two things there. Okay, you have your course outline done, and then you have your LOs all listed out. Now we want to plan the content. Okay, so we plan the contents. We use a style, okay, called backward design. Okay, backward design. Okay, this is by Grant Wiggin and J. McTighe. Okay, they have it in a book called Understanding by Design, 1998. Okay. So there are three steps over here, okay, to plan the content. Okay. So the first step is identify the desired results. So this one here is similar like the LOs, okay, the learning outcomes. Okay, you identify first the learning outcomes. Okay, so over here we separate this learning outcome into the desired results. Okay, we have to use our learning outcome as our reference. Okay, so first thing we have to ask, what's the big idea and important knowledge should the students retain? Okay, so this is the important questions we have to ask, and this is what the students need to achieve after they completed that one topic. Okay, in that one topic, okay, what is the big idea? Okay, they should know. For example, like the one I in my examples about the covalent bonds. Okay, so this is the big idea. Okay, they should be able to identify and differentiate the type of bonding in a substance based on the data provided. Then the next thing you ask, what knowledge and skills should the students know? Okay, so this will be the lesson learning outcomes that we planned out earlier. Okay, so like how to name, how to write the formulas, how to draw the diagrams, and so on. Okay, so those are the important skills the students should obtain, okay, so that they can later on answer the questions about the big idea, okay, what they should know. And lastly, okay, what information is good to know by the students? So this is the least important. For example, like this one here. Okay, you have table salt, sea salt, rock salts, all contains sample compound NaCl. Okay, so yeah, it's good for the students to know that, for example, the rock salts contains NaCl, okay, or the sea salts contain NaCl. It's good for them to know, but it's not the important information. So what they should know is NaCl is ionic compound, for example. Okay, so all those petty things like examples. Okay, if you think they are least important, so when you are planning into your activities, you can reduce them. Maybe you can use this as introduction, okay, but you emphasize less. Okay, this least important, good to know information. Okay, you have to focus more on the second one, okay, which is the knowledge and skill, what they have to know. Okay, so once you identify those things, the LOs, okay, then you determine acceptable evidence. So over here in backward planning, we plan on the assessment first before the actual activities. Okay, so we have to ask ourselves first, what kind of evidence we have to collect to show they have achieved all the outcomes. Okay, so the evidence will be from the assessment. Okay, so from the step one, we plan, okay, how to capture, okay, the evidence showing that they have achieved those LOs. So this will be the formative and summative assessment. Okay, so to know what is the suitable assessment, so you ask yourself, okay, how do I know if the students have achieved the desired results? Okay, so whether it's through writing, MCQ questions, or practicals, or quiz, yeah, so you have to think about that. And what are the best assessment tools to collect the evidence? So once you identify the assessment, then only you plan the teaching instructions and activities. Okay, so by rights, whatever you the activities in the class, okay, the instructions in the class, okay, should cover the assessment. Okay, so that's why we have a saying: teach what students need to know, not what we want to teach. So the need to know here ties up to the assessment. So you need to know that no one reference book covers our needs. Okay, so we have to mix and match several reference books, okay, to come up with the content, okay, which is suitable to achieve the CLO. Okay, so when we plan the instructions and activities, okay, these are some of the questions we have to ask ourselves. Okay, what knowledge and skills are required to perform in the assessments? Okay, earlier on, we already planned the assessment. So now we ask back the questions, what knowledge and skills? So we prepare the teaching instructions, activities around, okay, those knowledge and skills. What need to be taught and how it will be delivered. Okay, so if you need to deliver using practical, okay, a lab setup, okay, or in a kitchen, okay, or you have to deliver in using models, okay, simulations, yeah, then go ahead. What activities will equip the students with the knowledge and skills? Okay, the activities here, as simple as answering questions, okay, so that we know they have achieved those outcomes. And lastly, okay, what materials and resources are best to achieve this goal? Okay, the materials can be as simple as just the whiteboards, or if you need some software, okay, so those are the things that you have to plan out in advance, okay, or you have to do demonstration. So what are the resources, okay, what are the equipments, materials required, okay, so all these things have to plan in advance, just like the video we watched earlier, okay, so all those things require early preparation. Okay, so up until here, any question?
No, no one reference book covers your needs, mix and match. So this
Yeah.
means we should not include the contents of the references.
Okay, so normally the reference books that we have in the library or out there, they have like a lot of topics there, right? So
Yes.
impossible for us to cover the whole book in that 12 weeks.
Yes.
Yeah, so that's why we need to plan like what are the topics need to be covered. Okay, let's say you have book A. Okay, you have book A, which have all the topics. Okay, but maybe the explanation is not clear enough, or the examples, or no, the way of writing you don't like. Okay, you don't like. Then you check, or you have no reference 2, reference 3. Maybe the explanations there is much better. Then you wish to use those as your reference. Because eventually, eventually the students, they will still refer to our materials. Okay, and based on my experience, if you ask the students, okay, you go to library or you go online or check these informations, very high chance they won't check. So it means eventually they still refer back to our own our materials.
Yes.
Right? Yeah, so our materials is the one that we customize just for this course. So the reference can be from several. Okay. Even like, for example, let me take one example like A level. This A levels supposed to be external programs. So we might think like, oh, they might have one textbook for A level, but actually it's not. If you go out there, you can see there are several publications that cover, like for example, chemistry for A levels. Okay, so all of them you can refer, but which one is the best for the examinations? You have to go there and find out. Okay, different books that cover they cover the same thing, but in terms of explanations, they might have a better way to explain. Yeah,
Correct.
yeah, that's why it's our job, okay, to actually go through all the reference and pick the best, and then customize it for the students. Yeah. How about others? Any question from the floor? All good? Okay, so if no question, let me go back here. Okay, if no questions, let's take a early break. Okay, 10 minutes. Okay, let's take a 10 minutes break. Okay, after this, we'll continue with the assessment. Okay, so 10 minutes starts now. All right, ladies and gentlemen, 10 minutes up. Shall we continue? So if you are already ready in front of your screens, okay, please write something at the chat box, okay, or yeah, do some gesture that I know you are there. Okay.
Yes, sir.
All right, thank you.
Already, sir.
Okay. Okay, so about others, where's Fadila? Fadila, are you there? Okay, where Fadila, Vanisha, Kausaya, okay, Jennifer, Cheong, No Farahin. Okay, so all here already, yeah? Okay. Okay, so let's continue. So in the previous slide, in the previous session, before the break, we are looking at the planning, lesson planning. Now we look at the assessment. Okay, so assessment, I believe you all heard the terms formative and summative assessment. Okay, so assessments is are the tools to measure the achievement of the LOs, okay, of the course. And the methods used must be suitable for collecting evidences regarding the achievement of the LOs. Okay, if your LOs is about able to prepare a plate of fried rice, for example, so you can't give a pen and paper kind of assessment. Okay, the students must be able to show how to prepare that plate of fried rice. Okay. So that is what means by the suitable methods. So when it comes to formative assessment, okay, so this formative assessment, as the name suggested, formative, okay, means is during the lesson itself. Okay, we want to see the progress of the students, okay, how far they understand, okay, about what we just delivered earlier. Okay, so formative assessment, okay, is normally towards the end of a lesson. So the types of assessment, a lot, we can give them in the form of homework, quizzes, practical, presentation, online or group discussions. Okay, so these are the methods, okay, formative assessment, just to gauge, okay, how much, okay, they have received and understand, okay, at the end of the lesson. So this formative assessment importance because they provide information like how effective is the lesson delivery. Okay, so based on the quiz, for example, after the lesson, you let them play the Kahoot game. Everyone gets 1 out of 10. So you know something wrong there. So you can revisit again, okay? Asking what's going on. Is there anything wrong with the lesson delivery? What to be improved, okay? And then if the students that give the feedbacks about they still don't understand about certain parts, then that's where we have to reteach or use other methods, okay, to deliver the information. Okay, and also formative assessment is also let us know which are the weak students in the class. For example, like just now, example using the Kahoot game, you have 20 students, 19 students score 10 out of 10, one student score 1 out of 10. So you can zoom in from the very beginning, okay, the potential students that will have issues, so you can tackle them before the assessments that will have the grade, the weightage. So the general rules here is normally for formative assessment, they don't carry any marks. Okay, so these are the assessment to test their understanding. Another assessment is summative. So this one normally conducted at the end of the course or continuously. Okay, and summative assessments are graded. The final exams, project paper, tests or midterm exam, okay, case studies, presentations. Okay, so this normally will be the assessment that you have plotted in the COPA table 4 and your course learning outcome, your course outline. Okay, so these summative assessments that provides information such as achievement of the CLOs. Okay, later on you will see how we end up with this achievement of CLOs from the assessment. So summative would tell us this, okay, the achievement of CLOs. And then if the results bad or not as what we desired, then we can relook again at the teaching methods. Okay? Since most of the summative assessment is towards the end, so we can only do the adjustment for the next semester. Okay? Unless you have planned out things like quizzes or tests or midterm, then you might be able to do some adjustment of the teaching methods at the second half of your semester. Amendment in the assessment methods. Okay, so this one normally is towards the very end when we got all the results. Then during the meeting, the exam meeting, then everyone decides do we need to change the assessment methods to better capture the CLOs, okay, or the achievement of the LOs. Okay. For summative assessments, like they must have proper cover page. And if it is the assignment, make sure you include the assignment briefs. Okay, so assessment, okay, type of questions. Okay. So this one here, we are looking at the final exam, okay, final exam paper, okay. Types of questions. Okay. The first type is the MCQ, multiple choice questions. So commonly used to measure knowledge, comprehensions, and application. So the advantages here is it covers wide range of topics and levels. You can create MCQ questions, okay, for maybe like 1 questions per topic or 2 questions per topic, measuring different levels. Okay. And the second advantages here is easy marking. Okay, ABCD, very easy to mark. However, disadvantages here is very time consuming to create quality MCQ questions. And the design of questions, if it is poorly designed, then it is not effective, okay, as the assessment tools, okay, because it might have some hints, okay, to the students. So this is typically how an MCQ question looks like. So you have the question statement, which we call STEM. And then we have the options, A, B, C, D. And one of the option here is the correct answer. And the rest are distractors? Okay, so this is a typical format of MCQ question. So let's look at poorly designed MCQ question. Okay. All right, let's look at this one. Can anyone give me the answer? A, B, C, D, which one is the correct answer? The artist who drew the famous Kids on Bicycle mural in Penang. Which one is the answer? Take a guess. A, B, C, D. Anyone? A. Okay, so I have two answers coming in. A. All right, so this question. Okay, so two answer A. Anyone answer other than A? Sorry?
You can take picture if you want. Okay. But afterwards, you can return back to the front counter. Each time that if you want to borrow this, you go to the front counter and ask or maybe you just text me like, Miss, I'm dropping over. Are you in?
Eh?
Or else I will ask what else?
Whose microphone is on? Hmm. All right, so everyone agree the answer A? Or don't know? Not sure. Okay, so yeah, the answer is A. So this is considered a poorly designed question because of the non-relevant distractor. Okay, I don't need to know who exactly is the artist. Okay, if I know the rest of the people here, John Cena, the wrestler, the actor, Cristiano Ronaldo, famous footballer. A. Samad Said, okay, is a poet, okay, nothing to do with drawing arts. So by eliminating B, C, D, easily you get the answer already. Okay, so this is a poorly designed question. Okay, so the answers here, if let's say your subject is related to the arts, okay, so you have been exposed them to the specific arts, specific persons, okay, then over here you want to test them on the artist with their arts, something like that, then the distractor here have to be quite close to each other, okay, not like this, okay, which is too obvious. Okay, second question. Take a guess. Don't worry. Okay, no punishment here. Okay, take a guess. Which vitamin or vitamins is or are fat soluble? It's okay, just stand by. MCQ, that's how it works. Okay, everyone just choose one answer. What do you think? Okay, so I have D, A. Right? Okay, thank you very much. So over here, I have enough evidence to show that this is a poorly designed question. Okay, so I have 2 says A and 3 say D. Okay, so 3 say D, 2 say A. The answer here is A. Okay, so for this one here, okay, we have this all of the above, okay, which is very confusing, especially when students, they have no idea what is the answer and then see this option, all of the above, surely they will take that as the answer. Okay, they won't think like, no, I don't know. So I just choose that one since it is there. Okay, another alternative for all of the above would be none of the above. Okay, so when you design your questions, okay, make sure to avoid the use of all of the above or none of the above. Unless, okay, unless you have, for example, you are creating 20 MCQ questions. And then at the last 5 questions, all of them have the same format. Then that is okay. For example, let's say you have 20 questions and then your 16 to 20, okay, all of them follow the same formats. Okay, then it is okay. But if you have like one question number 1, have this all of the above. Question number 10, none of the above. Okay, then yeah, the students will have the tendency to pick those, okay, as the answer. Okay, third question. Let's take a guess again. Which one is the correct answer? The concept of financial management is, again, sorry. Again, don't worry, no one judging you. Okay, just want to have some fun over here. Don't worry. All right, so I have B, B, B. Everyone very confident. Yes, B, thank you. All right, so the correct answer is B. Okay. Right, this one is the longest answer. Okay. So unequal length, okay, this is the longest answer. So normally students, again, if they don't know exactly the answer, they will go for this, okay, the longest answer. Okay. And also in this example here, the A, B, C, D, they are not really arranged according to the length. Normally we have the shortest on top, the longest at the bottom, so that it looks neat. Okay, and also in terms of length, make sure all of them have the almost similar length. Okay, like this is too obvious. Okay, one last question. One last example of poorly designed MCQ question. Okay. This one is related to an anime called Demon Slayer. For those who didn't watch this one, don't worry. I believe you can guess the answer. Take a guess, okay? Don't worry, you don't have to Google, you don't have to search online. Okay. From the stem, from the question itself, you should be able to guess. Okay, I have answer coming in. Okay. All say B, water. Okay, correct. Because if you read the statement here, it says water. Okay, and then which breeding technique used by water Hashira. So yeah, should be water. Okay, so it's very obvious. The hints, okay, the hints or the clue already given in the question itself. Okay, so these are some of the examples of poorly designed questions. So if your exams or your assessment have MCQ, make sure you go back and have a look. Okay, do you have these few defects? Okay, you still have time to change that. All right, tips for application and analysis questions. Sometimes we have lecturers asking like MCQ. Normally MCQ can only ask questions up until understanding, okay, because we have those 4 answers already given there, then impossible for them not to know the answer, something like that. So it's like, the levels until there. Is it possible to have questions that involve application and analysis? Okay, the answer is yes. So this is where you have to include more information in the question paper, and then you ask questions, the indirect questions that will involve certain kind of thinking and analysis. Okay, so questions that includes that data, okay, graphs and diagrams. Okay, those are the good questions that will test on the application and analysis levels. And then those not direct questions that involve application of certain concepts, theories, or formulas. Examples like this. Okay, don't worry, I won't ask you to answer this question. Okay, so if you look at this question here, at one glance, okay, it says a mixture of 10 cm³ methane, 10 cm³ ethane was sparked with an excess oxygen. After cooling, residual gas was passed through aqueous potassium hydroxide. All gas volumes were measured at same temperature and pressure. Which volume of gas was absorbed by the alkali? Then there's the answer here, ABCD. So in order for students to answer this kind of question, first, the students must know the chemical equations, okay, the reaction equation between methane with oxygen, ethane with oxygen. Okay, once the students wrote out the equation, then the students need to compare, okay, how much of CO2 being produced. Okay, then from there, the students should be able to calculate how much gas will be absorbed. Then over here, the questions are not direct. It says gas was passed through aqueous potassium hydroxide. So that refer to CO2 gas, okay, which is acidic. So it will dissolve in the potassium hydroxide, which is alkali. Okay, so these kind of questions will involve the application parts. Okay. All right, so before I move on, any questions for the MCQ? Okay, if no, then we continue. All right, then we have short answer question and long answer questions. Short answer normally involve the response in one or few sentences. So for short answer questions, this one is good to use to assess the student's ability, okay, according to different Bloom's level. Okay, example, like in the questions, we can have identify 2 bodies that regulate solicitors. So identify, that is the knowledge level. And then describe the role of 3 civil courts. Okay, the describe, that one falls under understanding. So when the students answer those questions, okay, we know they achieve certain level. Okay. Calculate the velocity. Okay, so this one is the application. Okay. Okay, so we can easily assess, okay, the different Bloom's level achievement. Next one is LAQ, long answer questions. This one, or in other words, is essay. So this one, normally we use to measure the higher order thinking. Level 5 and level 6. Okay, example like this one. Okay. Which help, with the help of a diagram, assess the effectiveness of government policies which might be used to reduce cost push inflation. Okay, assess the effectiveness. Okay, so this one is evaluation. Next question. Globalization will help to achieve economic growth in high-income economies, and this will automatically improve living standards. Evaluate these statements. Okay, so a lot of evaluation required over here. So this one is evaluate. Okay, so we have seen the type of questions, okay, MCQ, SAQ, LAQ. Then these are some of the steps for planning the questions. Okay. So first, decide your goal or purpose for asking those questions. Okay, so like what I want to test them on. Okay, is it level 1, level 2? Okay, the understanding or application. Okay, so what I want to test them. Then second, when you want to ask, make sure the questions, the materials you want to ask them is something that is important. Okay, do not mislead them by emphasizing less important materials. So this one is example like, for example, if you still remember earlier on in the several slides at the front, I'm talking about the salt, NaCl. Okay, so if you ask students like, no, what is the content of kosher salt, for example, okay, I'm teaching chemistry, but I'm using those example, like what is kosher salt, what is the content of kosher salt. So that is considered as less important things to measure, okay, because the students, they do not need to know the name, okay, to know that salt is basically NaCl, okay, unless it is a culinary lesson which they need to know specific names, okay. If not, then those are considered as less important. Third, for short answer questions, try to avoid asking them questions that require to say yes or no, okay, unless they are follow-through questions. Okay, like for example, after they say yes, they have to explain why. Okay? If just stop at yes or no, then that is considered a poorly designed question. Okay, so before you arrange the questions in order, make sure you prepare a list of questions. Okay, a list of questions. And don't forget, for final assessments, you need set A and set B. Okay, so if you have a list of questions, at least you can compare the set A and set B, make sure they are almost similar, okay, in terms of the coverage and the topics. Okay, in terms of the questions, yeah, make sure you phrase the questions so that it is clear to the students. For example, like this one here, if you look at the first statement here, describe types of chemical bonding. Okay, so there are many types. So students might be asking one type, two types, a type. So I give two. Is that sufficient? Or those more able students, they say, oh, I'll just go with 5 types, maybe sufficient. Okay, so that kind of questions will make students think a lot. Okay, which one, okay, should I answer? So when you phrase the questions, make sure it's clear. Okay, like the second part here. Describe 3 main types of chemical bondings. Okay, so it's very clear, 3, and it is the main types. Okay, 6. Your question should not contain answer. Okay? Avoid implied response questions when you are genuinely seeking options. For example, opinion, sorry. So like, for example, the questions that you ask them to evaluate. Okay, so asking like, write your opinions. So it can be pro and cons. Okay, but if your question sounds like this, like the first one, don't we all agree EV is the future. Okay, so most of students, they will fall at this. Don't we all agree? It's like you, in your question itself, you already divert them towards agreeing that EV is the best. Okay? The better question should be, what is your opinion on the future of EV? So in their answers, they can put in the both pro and cons. And lastly, number 7. So while planning the questions, okay, we have to plan the answer as well. Okay, so in the questions, we try to anticipate possible students' response, okay, so that we can add in an alternative answer in our marking schemes. Okay, so we're done with the question, and then yeah, one more thing. Besides the final exam, okay, if we have coursework with weightage more than 30%, okay, equal or more than 30%, then that coursework require moderation. All right, so for final exam paper, we need to include the exam blueprints. So this is where we separate them into the different Bloom's level. So make sure we tabulate all the questions. Like for example, if I have MCQ, I'll have MCQ1. If I have SAQ, I'll have SAQ. If it is long, like essay questions, it'll be LAQ. Okay, so plot them at the correct Bloom's level, and then you calculate their weightage. On the right-hand side, okay, the percentage should be 100%. And then at the bottom here, we look at the percentage for each level, okay, the low, medium, and high. For the percentage, okay, this one serves as a reference. Okay, this document is available in SharePoint, okay, under the assessment preparation. Okay, so this one gives us a reference on what are the percentages, okay, for the low level, medium level, and high level. Okay, they also have the suggestion of the answers, okay, for the MCQ, SAQ, and LAQ. Okay, however, the best practice is always go back to your school, ask the seniors, ask your PL, the common practice. Okay, then you should get the idea. Okay, what should be the range of these levels in this blueprint, exam blueprint. Up until here, any question? Okay, if no, let's continue. So now we have done with the question paper, everything already prepared. Now we have to prepare the marking scheme or the rubric. So this document, the marking scheme and the rubric, okay, is used to guide the examiners in grading the students, and is used to feedback to the students on their performance, okay, where they get it wrong, where they get it right, how, and things like that. Okay, so marking scheme, rubrics, grading sheets, okay, depends on how the design looks like. We give them different names. So for those subjects which are very objective, okay, in their answer, like mathematics or the science subjects, okay, then we can use a simple marking scheme. While those assessment that have a lot of criteria, then we will use the marking rubric. So marking scheme, straightforward like this. Okay, so you can see clearly this is how they're supposed to answer their questions and which steps will give them the marks. Okay, like this drawing, for example, how they earn the 3 marks. Okay, all spelled out clearly. So and there's only one answer. Okay, one way to answer. So this kind we can use marking scheme. Okay. Those more complex assessment like practical assessment or even presentation, for example, then those will require rubric. So this is how a typical rubric looks like. So we have the criteria that spells out what we need to measure. And then we have the standards. This will be how we separate the good from the poor. Okay, excellence, goods. The top here, we can label according to what we want, how we want to label. Okay. And we have the descriptors. Okay, so the descriptor spells out clearly how to achieve the criteria. Okay, to be excellent, what you should need. For example, like the summary here, executive summary. Okay, extremely clear, concise, and covers all key points. So that is excellence. And if it is unclear, missing most of the points, it falls under poor. Okay, so the descriptors here must be clear to separate from each levels here. Okay, what is excellence, what is good. So for the standards, if you refer back, you have those with only 4, some will have 5. Okay, some have 5, some have 4. So it depends on your preference. Okay, it depends on your preference. Okay, the rubrics. It is good to share the rubrics with the students, especially for the assignments. Okay, like for all the class activities. For example, let's say you have presentations. So it's good to share with them the rubrics so that they know what is expected out of them. Okay, so that they can be more prepared for those activities or assignments. Okay, when constructing a rubric. So first, okay, let's say this is the first time, okay, you never seen a rubric before. So how to start? Okay, so this is how you start. So what knowledge and skills in the assignment designed to assess? Okay, for example, let's say you are teaching language, you want to test on their presentation skills. Okay, so that is the first thing, learning objectives here. Okay, the presentation. Then observable criteria. So what you want to measure the knowledge and skills. Okay, identify the criteria. So for presentation, for example, you have your clarity, your slides, okay, your preparedness, and things like that. And then you set your standards and points. Okay, how you want to grade them. Okay, excellence, poor. Okay, how many you want to divide into 4, divide into 5. And then of course you have the descriptor to separate between the standards. Okay, what is considered as good, what is considered as excellent. And after you use that rubric, that is not set in stone. Okay, if this is the first time you are preparing a rubric, so most likely you need to do some adjustment for the future use. Okay, so every time after you use a rubric, after you grade, make sure you reflect, okay, revise back if necessary for the next round. Okay, examples like this one is for presentation. Okay, presentation. So you can see here it involve research, delivery, organization, logical, emotional appeal, visual aids. Okay, so it comes with the marks. And then divided into excellent all the way to poor with the very specific descriptors inside here. Okay, so when we share these rubrics to students, okay, they have no way they can blame us like why they get low marks. Okay, they should be able to prepare themselves, okay, based on the criteria and also the descriptors inside here. Any questions on the marking scheme and rubrics? Okay, if no, then continue. All right, so you have done the question papers, then you execute the assessment, okay, the summative assessment. Okay, you collected all the data. Now it's time to record the marks. Okay, we want to see what is the CLO achievement. Okay, the CLO achievement, okay, for that course. So I believe you all have seen this OBE form. Okay, so we are supposed to fill in the blanks here. Okay, I just show this page. So inside here we have all the continuous assessment over here, and then we have the final over here. Okay. So just a reminder when we key in, okay, so on top there, those are the raw marks, okay, those are the raw marks. So in the previous page, okay, we will have key in already, okay, what are the raw marks and what are the percentages for the total 100%. The Excel sheets will do the calculation automatically. So when we key in the marks, okay, we key in the marks over here, we key in the raw marks as well. So the form will automatically calculate, okay, the marks and converts into the coursework and final exam percentages. So after key in the marks inside the OBE form, then we have to key in the Oracle system. So in the Oracle system, in the grade books over here, before we key in the marks, we have to convert, okay, those raw marks into 100%. So the practicals all the way to final, okay, all this, we have to make sure we convert individually to 100% before we key in here. So once we have keyed in these two documents, okay, then next things we have to make sure the overall grades, the overall marks are tally. So this is where we look at it. Okay, in the Oracle, you click the cumulative grades, you will see this page. So this marks here must tally with this column, okay, in the OBE form. So once this one done, the next thing we do is we print out the GIR. Okay, so in the GIR, there's one part where they ask about the assessment, the achievement, the percentage of student achievement, of the CLO. So if we refer back to the OBE form, this one will be under 3.4 CLO achievement. So we put the percentage based on this. Okay. Then after that, we have to justify. Okay. Oops, we have to justify, okay, why there are students not achieving those CLOs. Okay, so those are the flows for the assessment, okay, from preparing the assessment all the way until grading them and putting in the marks, everything in the system, okay, and justify about their CLO achievement. Now we look at the last part, which is the academic misconduct. So academic misconduct is defined as any actions that receive, try to accept, or help others in accepting or trying to receive unfair academic advantage. Okay? In other words, achieving the results without using own effort. So the range of academic misconduct, okay, from plagiarism, collusion, contract cheating, fabrications, impersonation, and possession of unauthorized materials. So if the academic misconduct is during the final examination, which is face-to-face, everyone in the hall, then the action is quite straightforward. Okay, so you can see like if they're impersonating, you look at their IC, their the names, face not the same, then you can easily identify that. Okay, or they have some unauthorized materials written in their hands or in their pencil box. So this is quite straightforward. We see, we captured them, and then we stop them from further doing the things. So for final examination, there's a guideline on how to, what actions to be taken if you identify some academic misconduct or cheating. Okay, so you can refer to the guideline for central exam invigilation by exam department. Okay, this document is available in the SharePoint. Okay, if you're not sure, you can always go back to your school, ask your PL. Okay, they should be able to guide you. Okay, to search for this guideline. So for final exam, clear cut, quite straightforward. But when it comes to assignment, that's where we have to pay extra attention. So in assignment, what we scared off is normally the plagiarism part. So plagiarism refer to taking someone else's work or idea as own without proper citation. Okay. Most of the time, especially in Malaysia, most of the time we can somehow guess or no, there will be some hints here and there, okay, to tell us whether that piece of work is original or plagiarized. So one of the most obvious one is the English proficiency. So we know nowadays people can easily use ChatGPT, okay, to come up with the whole statements, something like that. So if we have done enough activities with the students in the class, we roughly know how they write, how they speak. So if when they submit their work, you see the standards is totally different, the style of writing is different, so that should be the signal, the hints that something not right over there. Okay, inconsistent formatting. Okay, the page, the chapter 1, chapter 2, okay, different formatting, different fonts, different size, lack of citation or inconsistent citation style, use of unusual or advanced vocabulary. Okay, so I believe those who have taught for few rounds or few cycles, you might come across this kind of situation, okay, where the students suddenly will have like one or two bombastic words in their assignments or in their write-ups. And then when you ask them, what do you mean by this? They can't answer you. Okay, so that is a sign that they actually copy paste the work from somewhere else. Okay, inconsistent writing style. So for now, we all use electronic submission, okay, all type out in words and online submission. So it's quite easy to check for plagiarism. Okay, we use the Turnitin, okay, to check. So the regulation normally is if it is 20 or higher than 20%, okay, then yes, okay, that shows a sign of plagiarism, and we have to take notes on that. Okay, always advise the students on what is the acceptable level. Okay, the 20% here, this is the common practice, but again, go back to your course, to your school, what's your practice. In terms of test and midterm, okay, since now we all go back to face, so we conduct the test or the midterm face. Okay, but if you have the online classes, ODL, okay, you need to do it online, then you are recommended to use exam.net for the online exam. Okay, it provides a very good setting for online assessment. So for Turnitin and exam.net, if for Glenn Mary colleagues, okay, you can contact Mr. Hazim from TLC. Okay, if you need to know more about this Turnitin and also the exam.net. Okay, for Penang colleagues, okay, you can email Mr. Hazim as well. Okay, actions on plagiarism. So just now we already mentioned all these things. So actions on plagiarism. So warning letter. Okay, these are the range. Okay, this is a range. So it can go from a warning letter issued by the schools, or it can be a resubmission of the work, okay, but with the capping of the marks, or straight away give fail grade for that particular work, or fail for the entire course, or permanent exclusion. Okay, so all this you have to go back to school, discuss with your HOS, okay, on what's the action for this kind of cases, okay, because it depends whether it is first time or it is the continuous by that particular students. Okay, then the actions will become stricter and stricter. Okay, so all these actions here is good to inform the students in advance, okay, before during the start of the semester, so that they know the consequences, okay, if they are doing this plagiarism. Okay, so we are at the end of today's session. Just to recap, so first, okay, always refer to the learning outcomes when planning the lesson. Do not focus too much on good to know matters in activities. Okay, always focus on need to know. The need to know is always listed out in the learning outcome. And then for assessment, make sure you plan the assessment before the start of a semester, okay, or at the beginning of semester. Okay, the best practice, the actual practice actually is to prepare the assessment first before you plan the activities. Okay. And a reminder, any assessment 30% or more than 30% must be moderated. And lastly, make sure you remind the students about the consequences of academic misconduct. All right, so that's all from me. Any question before we end today's session? Everything okay? All right. So if you have more questions, feel free to email to us in TLC. We will try our best to help you. Okay, so now it's 3:50, okay, almost 4 o'clock. All right, so if no questions, that's all for today. Have a nice weekend. See you again next Friday. Have a nice day. Bye.
Hi, sir.
Okay, bye.
Bye, doctor.